Okay, let's work on history lesson 3. So please write on your page 8 HIST period 10.3. 8th grade history, unit 10, lesson 3. Here we go. I think this is so much better than the packet. So if you like it, let's keep doing it this way. We're going to take a look at Congressional Reconstruction. Congressional Reconstruction focused on civil rights. Answer number 1 is civil rights. So the question is, what do you call the rights given to people, especially the right for freedom and the right to vote? And that's civil rights. Okay, now next is suffice, and suffice means to say enough, and next is vagrancy, and vagrancy means homelessness. So now let's take a look at what's going on here. President Johnson is reconstructing policies after the Civil War. So the North won, the South lost, and the North had radical Republicans. Radical Republicans believe that the slaves should be free and they should have rights like the white people, they should have jobs like the white people, and they should be treated better. So those people from the North who wanted to save the way slaves were treated were called radical Republicans. So the Republicans are saving people, and the Democrats from the South, which are called the Union, they want them to still be slaves or have no rights. So what was the name of the guy who was a radical Republican leader who was determined to take Reconstruction away from the states and wanted to give it to the federal government? And his name was Thaddeus Stevens. Number 2, the name of the guy who fought to bring civil rights and political reconstruction to the federal government instead of the state government, Thaddeus Stevens. So please write that down for number 2. Okay, now let's look at number 3. Question number 3. So now the war is done, the South lost, and now the South has a problem. They can't make the black people slaves anymore, but you're going to hear in a little bit how bad they treat them. But first, let's look at how many slaves are we talking about? How many black people are in the South that were former slaves? Number 3, how many slaves were in the South after the Civil War? 4 million. So please write 4 million. I'm sorry, question number 3. 4 million. How many slaves were in the South? 4 million. Now let's go to question number 4. For question number 4, the answer is going to be black codes. And these things are bad. Let me tell you about the black codes. These stink. I never even knew about this stuff till history, and it made me so mad when I heard about it. So what are the black codes? Now the South is pissed because they have no, as a teacher I probably can't say that. Now the South is mad because they have no power and they want these slaves working for them, but they can't. So they make something called the black codes. And the black codes say that it's illegal for a black person to have a job a white person could have. And they've all been kicked out of the plantations because they can't be slaves anymore. So now they have no place to live. So the black codes also say that it's illegal for a black person to take the job of a white person, but it's also illegal for a black person not to work. Now, if a black person is found in the town during working hours, he gets arrested for being vagrant or homeless. As a punishment, he's hired out to a farmer. So the people in the North, the Republicans, are saying basically this is still slavery and you're being even meaner to them. So they're not too happy about this. So what was the name of the group? This is question number 5. The name of the group that did not believe there was enough change in the southern states and they wanted to see more change. They wanted to see them treated, they wanted to see them treat the blacks better. It is the Republicans. Number 5, the Republicans are the ones fighting for the rights of the blacks. Now, one of the things that the Republicans develop is called the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau works, but it also backfires. So that's number 6. I'm going to give you the question in a minute, but if you want to, go ahead and start writing down the answer. Freedmen's Bureau. And here's the question. What was established by the federal government? Now remember, the North won, so the North controls the federal government. So there were all these little individual states. They decide they're all going to be the United States. The North is in charge of it. The North are the Republicans. The North wants to see the black people free. And the North tells the South, hey, if you want to come be part of the U.S. government again, you need to change some things. Like 1, the power you have, 2, the disrespect to the U.S. that you have, and 3, the way you treat your slaves. These are free people and it's wrong. So they make the Freedmen's Bureau, and it's a great idea because it's a camp that gives them a place to live, and it helps them with jobs and education and stuff like that. But there's a problem. There's 100,000 slaves in these camps, and they're so crowded, and because they're so crowded, disease sets in. And so these conditions are not good. There's not a lot of money. There's not a lot of modern fancies. And there's disease and everything, not good way for hygiene. So what happens in these camps, even though they're meant to be good, many, I actually have the wrong word in yellow. If you write many, I'll accept it, but it's many died. What happened to the black? I mean, it's right, but we just need this one to be yellow too. What happened to the black people? I'm sorry, I can't change this to yellow, but this word right here, died, that's the answer. Oh, maybe it's going to let me do it. Many died. So what happened to the slaves that were free, that went to the Bureau? Number 7, many died. That would be the right answer. Okay, so moving right along here, down to our next thing. This is interesting. President Johnson believed that caring for the free man was the responsibility of the states. Now, the Republicans think it should be federal because the states down south are treating these guys bad, but not President Johnson. Number 8, President Johnson says it should go to the states. Okay, so this, along with some other stuff, gets President Johnson in trouble. And what was it? It's the Civil Rights Bill. So number 9, if you will just write down Civil Rights Bill, that'll be your last answer. And I'm going to tell you what this is, answer key. Okay, I'm going to tell you what this is. So the Republicans said, we made something called the Civil Rights Bill. We want it to be passed as the 14th Amendment. And Johnson says, no, I'm going to fight it. Well, the radical Republicans are like, we don't care because we believe that this is the right thing. So we're going to fight it. You don't have to write down ruined himself, but I just wanted to let you know. President Johnson ruined himself because the Southern people, they didn't like him because he was from the North and there was all this change coming, and the radical Republicans didn't like him because they came up with the 14th Amendment, the Civil Rights Bill, and it's helping to support the black people, but Johnson is like, oh, I don't want the federal government to do that. I want the states to do that, so I'm not going to support this. So like, okay, you just killed your career as a politician. So after this, he loses favor and Johnson goes down. Everybody thinks the guy's a twit. Everything just falls apart for him. And all he had to do was support the civil rights 14th Amendment, but he didn't. So he got himself in trouble. People bad talked him, and the radical Republicans got rid of him. So anyway, he does go on a campaign trail and try to recover. Does he recover or not? You'll have to wait till the next lesson to find that out. Anyway, you did a great job, and I'm ending this now because you've got your answers. You killed it. Congratulations.